all around the United States, parents are putting lawn signs in the front of their home that they don't realize has the ability to target, groom, and even potentially kidnap their children. Today, we're not just going to speak about the risks of that sign, but also a different way to be preventative in these situations, as well as also speaking to a professional in this specific case. So some of you might know that of the many things that my company offers is one of the things we do is security assessments, whether that be for a home, for a house of worship, or for a school. And one of the things that we look at when we're doing security assessments are signage. Signage is a category that we look into to see what is a person from the outside able to see about the inside. So for example, something as simple as a sign that says school identifies that facility as a school. So the more signage there is, the more information a person is able to get about that facility in regards to whether they want to be able to target that facility or not. Now, a similar example to this is the picture that you'll now see on your screen. This is a picture that's very oftentimes passed around in different communities when it comes to security. Now, what this sign is most people are going to have a car. Now, on the back of their car, you could choose whether you want to put bumper stickers on that car or not. However, the type of bumper stickers you put on your vehicle will also be able to help people target your vehicle. So if you're a gun person and you decide to put a Magpul sticker or a BCM sticker or some firearms related sticker on your car, although you're kind of presenting yourself as I'm someone who has a gun, to a person who's looking to target you, they're saying you're someone who has a gun. So maybe I want to be able to steal that gun. If you're someone who stores your firearm in your vehicle and you have that sticker on your car, you could see why that could become more of a problem. So for example, looking at this sticker that you're looking at right now, different stickers on that car are able to help a person identify whether you're going to be a valuable target to them or not. Now, the sign in question right now is going to be something we're going to look at, but before we speak about that, there's kind of like little homework we need to do in advance to talk about why we're going to be speaking about this sign. This video is not going to be about telling you not to do this. It's telling you that similar to using the internet, there are risks involved in using the internet and your private information being able to be hacked and used. So just like using the internet, it's valuable to be able to understand the risks of doing certain things and you making an informed decision as a parent of whether you want to continue doing this thing or not. So again, this is not me telling you not to do something. It's about you being well informed in regards to your children's safety and taking a calculated risk involved in doing this thing. So now we're going to put up the sign on the screen right now. And what this sign is that during kind of the height of COVID, parents, in order to encourage their kids or kind of feature things that they're doing, which I think was a very positive thing, were putting signs in the front lawn of talking about either graduation or kids going into a new school. Some of these even included a photo of the child. Now, if you don't immediately see the problem, we're going to break it down. The first issue is that if a person is deciding that they want to target a specific community, they could literally be going around, and I know this is going to sound graphic, but I want to make sure it's as realistic as possible, is that for people who are potentially targeting children, they kind of have access to just profiles that they're able to drive around, and by this photo and this information being on the front lawn, they're able to get a lot of information about not only the child, but about the family. So breaking it down a little bit more, you have a photo of the child, you have the school that the child attends, you have the grade that the kid is either going into or graduated from, and from that information, you're actually able to get more information about the household. So here's one of the questions that I asked my friend who's a counterterrorism investigator, and he's actually the person who brought up the idea for me to make this video, because he was doing investigative work and realizing that because of the types of trends this is bringing along, so many families are now putting this sign in front of their house, and it presents a lot of potential risks. Now, where is this actually going to cause a risk? So let's back up a little bit. When I was speaking to my friend who was able to give me this idea to make this video, I asked him, how difficult is it to actually be able to obtain information from a person's home using very open source information?
It's actually quite easy to obtain very detailed personal and sensitive information about pretty much any aspect of someone's life. Thankfully, this usually only applies to individuals over the age of 18.
So after speaking about that, the big takeaway from here is that usually if a person's over the age of 18, their information becomes more publicly available. But again, the problem is that if the majority of the information is going to be on a sign in front of the home, this is again able to be used as a grooming technique to be able to target children. So if your child is someone who walks from the bus stop home, from the time that the kid is at the bus stop on the way home, a person's able to approach them potentially in their vehicle and say, oh, I know your father so-and-so because that information is publicly available online. I know you live at this and this address. It's an emergency. We need you to come home. Jump in the car. That's an example. Again, there's a lot of different techniques that are unfortunately being able to be used to target children, and being able to present so much open source information to public eye has potential risks. Now, again, we want to be able to do this as a form of encouraging our kids or showing off that our kid graduated from a certain school. But the question is putting it in public view where you have no control of which eyes are able to see it really a good idea? So one of the other things we look at when we're doing a security assessment is two different types of risk. There is targeted risk, and then there's opportunity. So when a person has an opportunity, for example, there was a situation when I was living in Los Angeles where a law enforcement officer told me that it's a bad idea to even leave gum in open view in your car. Why? Because there were cases where people were breaking into cars just because they saw gum and I want a piece of gum right now. Now, obviously, that might be sounding like an extreme case, but the point is that small amounts of opportunity for people who are career criminals or who just simply don't care, you're able to give them more options of something that you don't want them to do. So in this case, as an example, if your house is being singled out because you decided to put this sign in front of the home, you've automatically created a potential of opportunity risk. So the biggest difference between having the sign and not having the sign is that now that the sign is there, it's giving them information that they can work off. So again, the whole point of what this video is simply to inform and educate. Now, I know that something that has come up to me in the past before is making these kind of informative videos is people are saying that, well, you're giving people information, you're training people in regards to now getting information on how to groom children. The other perspective about this is that the reason why my friend reached out to me to tell me about this is that clearly someone has already thought about this, and someone might already be doing this. Someone might have already kidnapped a child based on this type of information, and we're still trying to figure out how they received that information. So what I'm saying is that just like there's open source information for anyone on the internet, this should be a video that you should share with parents. Tell people who have this sign in front of their home to at least consider what they are doing when they're doing this. It's the same concept that would apply that if you have an open Facebook page and you post publicly, you're still opening up that kind of information to the public eye, versus now putting that Facebook page on private at least limits it somewhat to the people who are able to view that. And again, a public street is a public street. So you being able to limit who's able to see that sign on a public street will be able to determine if an opportunist decides to take action on what they see.